Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Patreon podcast. This week is a little bit more of a personal entry, I guess. I don't know. I'm recording this on Thursday. Obviously, it's coming up on Friday, and then the following Monday, I'm going in for my procedure. I have a kidney stone. It is going to be removed via lasers, which is neat. But I don't know. I'm just anxious about the whole thing, and that's got me kind of thinking a little more existentially about everything else. And like, I don't want to just unload all of my problems and issues and all that other stuff. But I mean, I know the procedure will be fine, and I know that I'll be fine, and it'll be a crummy week while I'm recovering. And then things will be significantly better in my life. But it's just one of those things where, you know, it's the first time in my life, really, that I've really come and confronted my own fragility as a human. And it's one of those things where it's not easy for me to fully grasp everything. And I've been struggling with this, honestly, for the past 6 or 7 months since it happened in September, since I first got the kidney stone issue. And like, it's just crazy for me to kind of try to come to terms with that. And then, you know, I'm being medically sedated during the procedure, which is another thing that kind of weirds the hell out of me. But it's just, I don't know. I don't really have a purpose or a point for this one. I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit and just say that, you know, honestly, I genuinely appreciate all of you. Like, it really means a lot to have the kind words that I've gotten through the Patreon system and through the Discord and through Twitter and everything. And like, having that support does mean a lot to me. And like, I know that the past couple months have been a pretty significant struggle, and I do feel that like my general output and flow of making things has diminished lately, and I'm trying to find a good middle ground for where I want to be, you know, in the next year, the next 5 years, for the rest of my life. Like, I want to make sure that, you know, what I'm doing has value and matters to people. And it's not just me making content for the sake of making content. And I think that that's actually going to be something I'm going to record right after this, where it's about the culture of grinding and trying to eke out every little bit of the algorithm. Like, there's a lot to talk about there. But for this, like, I've just been thinking a lot. And I've been trying to kind of understand where I sit with everything, and like how to process this kind of information, where I'm just like, you know, in 4 days time now, I'm going to be in a hospital. And that's going to happen. And I keep telling myself it'll be fine, and I know it'll be fine. Like, the people that are doing the procedure, they're doctors, and this is probably their 4,000th one this year. And like, that's just, you know, that's just what they do. That's their job, and they're going to do it, and it's going to be fine. But just the existential dread of the whole thing, and like the constant reminder that, you know, you are mortal is a bit of a downer. But I've also always kind of tried to remind myself of that, but I've never really had tangible evidence that it, you know, actually is a thing. Like, I've mentioned this before, but I have a kind of like a lava stone skull on my desk, and I have a little painting of a skull, and that kind of tangible small reminders like that are useful just for not necessarily motivation, but a reminder that the time that you have is limited. And even though it is a lot of time, like a year or 10 years can feel like an entire lifetime. But it's also something that, you know, you have to stay aware of. You can't just, you know, get hooked into, this is my problem. You can't just get hooked into YouTube and then, you know, spend all of your days there. And then all of a sudden, you know, so much valuable time is gone. And it's it's so easy to get complacent and to get wrapped up in this idea that I can do it later. And, it's not always the case. I don't know. I know that it is infinitesimally small that something serious will happen during this procedure, but it is a non-zero chance. Like, there's always a non-zero chance for this. And that loss of control over the outcome is scary to me. And, I obviously want the best outcome for this, but it's, I have to, just as a precaution, I have to still write up a small, statement of what will happen to my stuff if I don't make it through, just as a precaution, because I don't want to burden my wife or my family with anything else. But, and this mostly comes from, having to deal with, my wife's uncle passing a couple years ago and us going through that whole debacle. But it's not something that I expect to happen. It's just, trying to hedge all of the variables and ensure that if something did happen in the very, very unlikely scenario, that everybody's taken care of. But just having to confront that and think about it and be aware of all of it is just so, I don't know the word. It's not concerning. It's just, it's consuming my mind, because I know that it has to happen. And I'm rambling a little bit, and I apologize for that. But I just wanted to talk about it a little bit more. And I wanted to make sure people were aware of what's going on, regardless of, the outcome that's going to happen on Monday. I had mentioned that I am probably not going to do the 2-hour track challenge next week. So I'm going to try to do one this weekend as a stopgap, just because I don't know how I'm going to be feeling next week, because the recovery could take a little while. But we'll see. They say that I can ride my bike the next day, and I'm well, we'll see about that. They're putting in a small stent between my kidney and bladder, so I imagine that it will be fairly uncomfortable for the next few days afterwards. But I'm just trying to talk it out. And I'm not even going to go into details about the whole financial parts of all this. They're asking for prepayments now on everything, where it's just I just want to get the procedure done and let insurance handle what it is and then send me a bill. But now they want me to prepay everything. And it feels like they're just holding they're holding my well-being hostage. And it's just I don't swear much, but it's a real shitty way of handling your business. But it's neither here nor there. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be fine. Everything will be great, and I'll be able to get back into what I want to do this year. And that'll be very, very nice, because the fact that I've had this kidney stone, I haven't been able to exercise, which means that I haven't had as much energy, which means that I haven't been able to be more active or be more awake. And I think that impacts my creative stuff. So this small 5 or 6 millimeter clump of calcium has really kind of derailed my entire life. And despite the cost of it getting removed, both financial and mental, it is definitely the right way to go. As much as I wish I could remove it the natural way by just drinking a lot of water, I think the way the stone is shaped, it's just not going to happen. So it has to get done. So that's where we're at. And yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because it's obviously been on my mind, and I know that I don't really do many personal things on this, but I also want to ensure that that things get talked about. So anyway, thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter, and thank you so much for listening. I really do genuinely appreciate it. And I love all of you because, you know, it really puts all this stuff in perspective. So thank you so much for being a part of this, and I will talk to you next week. Oh, yes. And also have a great Friday and have a great weekend. I'll talk to you guys next week. Again, thank you so much. Be remarkable.